Hi there, Psychic Medium Lauren Rainbow here. And today I'm going to answer some questions about all things metaphysical and spiritual, talking about aspects of understanding your intuitive psychic mediumship abilities, understanding your soul purpose, understanding what's going on in our world today with all of the changes around humanity. So let's dive in. Thank you for taking the time to be with me today. I reached out to my free heart space community and I asked them to give me some questions that I can share with all of you about all things spiritual, metaphysical, intuitive psychic, mediumship training abilities, and understanding spirit guides. I've got some great questions we're going to cover today. But before I dive in, I also want to invite you here. If you have any questions you'd like to see me tackle in an upcoming video, pop them in the comments. You can ask me about traveling to sacred sites, anything metaphysical, spiritual development. I've been through a lot of things in the last 25 years, and I would love to hear what you want to know and talk about. So leave the thoughts, questions in the comments, and we'll tackle them in some upcoming videos. But for today, I wanted to take some of these questions from my community and share them with you because I think some of these questions we can all benefit from. And let's talk about it. So, the first question that I want to tackle today is what are some of the grounding methods that I use in my practice every day to stay present and to stay grounded in my being as we're moving through a lot of what's going on in the world right now? I thought this was a really great question because it's so timely when we're dealing with a lot of things in the world that feel really heightened and that sometimes we're all feeling a little bit stressed, a lot of unsurety. We can tend to feel like we are disassociating or lifting out of our bodies. And right now, we need to be more grounded and more present than ever. We are going to be able to manage our lives so much better if we're grounded and present. So, here are a couple things I like to do really easily to stay grounded every day. And for an empath, some of these will be really helpful. One of the first things I like to do is my heart breath, which is a simple, beautiful, easy breath. And we'll kind of do it together real quick right here. And it's as easy as bringing your mind into your heart and just taking a breath or two with your mind into your heart space. So if you want to do that with me real quick, just one or two breaths here is going to all that you need as you exhale. And then the next breath, I just kind of breathe in and exhale out into my root, into my lower chakras. So breathing into the heart and exhaling down to the root. And sometimes people like to feel as though you're feeling roots into the earth, like a tree can be really easy. And you can do that simple heart breath, grounding breath in just a few moments, as we did right there. Another fast, easy method I like to do to be grounded is to simply walk barefoot outside somewhere in my backyard or, around the beach, sometimes in the woods, wherever you feel it's safe, to just kick off your shoes for a minute and let them be barefoot on the ground. It's literally very grounding to let your feet touch the ground. Chocolate can be a fast, easy way if you're able to do a little bite of chocolate. Sometimes, if you're feeling like you're out of your body, chocolate can be a really fast, easy grounder. And I think sometimes it's as simple as drinking some water. Anything that brings you back to your physical body is a great way to ground. A walk, a little bit of yoga. There's so many ways. We just have to be willing to make the time to do it. A lot of people tell me they don't have time to either do a quick meditation or a quick breath. If you have 5 minutes to scroll social media on your phone, you have 1 minute to do a heart breath and get grounded. It's that easy. So we're only taking 4 minutes out of your scrolling time. Another question that I have here I love is how to differentiate your voice from the spirit world voice. So sometimes we receive information from our guides or our loved ones in spirit, and it sounds like you, which is super annoying. We would love a voice of God that comes in so clearly, so uniquely different from us to know that's coming to our intuition. But it's not always that easy. We do often receive information in what sounds like our own voice. So, a couple things that can be really easy to help you differentiate the difference. A lot of times when I receive information from my intuition or my guides, it's usually a very fast, quick thought that pops in. I'm not usually thinking about it to happen. It just comes in. I usually feel also a connection to my heart with it. Like I can feel that energy in my body. And I know that's often a spirit guided voice versus my own thought process. Now, the other reason I know is that once I get that intuitive thought, my ego is going to kick in and start to make questions like, is that real? Are you sure that's what you're sensing? I might even start to debate with you. Is that really what you want to do? So, when we get intuitive thoughts that do sound like our own voice, it's going to be fast, it's going to be instant, and it's not always something you're seeking to connect with. It just pops in. You're often going to feel it in this part of your body. And then the minute your mind kicks in and wants to debate it, wants to, kind of question it, that's when you know you've gone from your intuitive voice into your thinking voice. So notice the dialogue, notice if it's being questioned. That part of you is the part that's trying to take control. We got to love our ego. It's always trying to take care of us. But that the minute that thought moves from your heart and it starts to be debated and questioned, that's when you've gone from the intuitive voice into a different voice altogether. So trust that first thought. It takes practice, but eventually you're going to learn to just trust that voice when it comes in. Even though it sounds like you're going to learn to feel its difference in your body and you're going to trust it. You'll learn to make great decisions that way as well, I always find. Here's a big question. Oh, this one's a biggie. I'm going to do my best to answer this in this video to the best that I can, but it is a big question. What is my purpose in life? And the second aspect, what are we actually longing for when we are trying to understand our purpose? Such a big question right now. And it's a question that I'm seeing in a lot of my sessions with people. Everybody wants to understand more deeply their purpose. Now, the hardest part about answering this in a video is I can't tell you exactly what your purpose is. It is a journey that you're moving through in your life, and it's an evolving journey. So I would say when I started, for example, feeling called to understand my psychic and mediumship abilities 25 years ago, it's a part of my purpose. But it first started with a call, a feeling inside that I just needed to understand and explore this voice, this ability that was awakening in me. Now, that can be so different for so many people. Maybe you find that you have a great singing voice or that you have an incredible talent to, dance, or maybe you want to entertain. Maybe you are great at math and you want to use your skills in science and make changes in the world. It starts with understanding the strength of your abilities. That's part of your purpose. And then as you allow that to be explored, to be developed, then your purpose begins to unfold. But I got to tell you, my purpose is still evolving. So the medium that I started off as 25 years ago and who I am now, it's evolved so much that if you were to tell me 25 years ago that I would be even doing sacred travels with groups in my life, I would have laughed at you. And now that's been an evolution now of over 10 years of my part of my work here. And even as I sit now, there's new aspects of my purpose that are continuing to evolve, grow, and change. So the hardest part about purpose is tuning into your heart and just listening to where it wants to begin. And another simple purpose of life, this is so simple, but it's true for every single one of us. It's to be an expression of love. You are a unique expression of love in this world. Nobody but you can love the way you do. And so, learning to even start with being the loving person that you are designed to be, whatever that looks like, in even the smallest ways, begins to evolve the journey of purpose. But there's no finite answer to understanding your soul purpose. It is an evolution. And so, what are we actually longing for when we're longing to understand our purpose? We are longing to be the best expression of love that we can be. And I think it's that simple in the end. We are just longing to be the best expression of love that we are designed to be. And that is a fun, expressive journey. So rather than overthink purpose, just begin exploring your interests as your soul is guiding you. Try not to overthink it and try not to over project the outcome. Because, like I said, if I even could fathom all those years ago of what my life would look like now, I may have sabotaged the journey just because I wouldn't be able to have believed it possible. So only work with the aspect that wants to be expressed in this moment. Tune into your heart, even if it's just wanting to be the best mom you can be, which is, by the way, an incredible role. That alone is an incredible purpose. See the value in it and start there. Be the best expression of love that you were designed to be. It's that easy. It seems so complicated, but really, it's much easier than you know. I love this other question I got here. How do spirit guides view our mistakes? Oh, this is a fast, easy answer. They don't view them as mistakes. Our spirit guides never view us making any mistakes in our life. They just view us learning and creating more lessons for our soul to grow. And I think the beautiful thing about our spirit guides is they're the most unjudgmental beings in the world. They're just there to hold space, to perhaps illuminate aspects of your path. Remember that your guides still can't do it for you. That's your job. Your job is to live your life, but they can illuminate things. They can try to open a door that you could choose to say yes or no to entering. That's still our choice, but they have zero judgment of whether or not you make the choices. That's not what they're there to do. They're not there to judge us. So they don't view us ever making mistakes. They just view us as going through different lessons in our life. The idea of it being a mistake is such a human driven thing. So just remember that they're not there to judge us. They're just there to love us. And they don't think we ever make mistakes. They just think we're trying to figure out this aspect of the world that we call being human. What do we take too seriously as humans from the spirit perspective? Oh, God, this is another additional one to that first question about our mistakes. I think the guides, I chuckle because they laugh a lot of times at the things I think we take way too seriously. I do think that we overthink so much of our life. I feel the guides are always sharing messages about, trying to go with the flow, trying to take it easy on ourselves, trying to not judge ourselves too harshly. So I do think that they look at a lot of our stress in our life as things that we take way too seriously. But there's one thing I want to share with you that comes to mind as I'm saying that. And I feel I share this message a lot in any of my group readings I do with spirit. But one message they're always sharing to everybody is to never get lost in the grief that we have for the loved ones in spirit. With that being said, grief is a healing journey. And if you've lost a loved one in spirit, it's so important that you move through the process of grief. It is part of the experience of losing somebody that we love is to grieve that aspect of how they were in our lives. But it's so important to remember that they are still there in a new energy and form. They still love you on a soul level so deeply. And when we live in the best way we can down here, we're honoring their spirit so much more than we can understand. They don't ever expect us to get lost in their loss. They want us to still live fully and vibrantly to the best that we can in honor of their spirit. So I say that because I think sometimes we get a little stuck in grief over time. It is an important process, but whenever you can do your best to laugh a little, bring joy back to your life, they feel that love and joy. They celebrate it with you, and it's their greatest desire for us here. So we take a lot too seriously. Anytime we can do our best to send love, though, to things that are serious in this world, famine, war, human loss of life in large forms is so important. So please send love toward the aspects of your heart that need to send love. And I can understand that does need to be taken quite seriously. But in your everyday life, do your best to not be so hard on yourself. I think that's the greatest ask they have of us, that we're always doing our best in each moment and that we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves for trying when we do. Here's another really great question. Is humanity going through a specific evolutionary phase? And how does that really look right now, if so? Oh, God, are we ever going through a major evolutionary part of our phase? And this isn't the first time in the centuries and centuries of existence that we've had that we've gone through something so intense. This is not old to us. It's just something that we're experiencing for the first time in our human state as we are now. We are definitely going through a major evolutionary phase right now. It is something that I think has truly started to dynamically begin the shift in and around 9/11. The harmonic concordance shortly thereafter was another massive shift and change. I think we experienced that in the end of 2012. We experienced it a lot in 2020. All of that leading up to where we are here in 2026. Now, if you are in tune to the metaphysical world at all, you're hearing a lot of channelers, psychics, and mediums calling this the year of full disclosure or the year of disclosure. And I do think that's quite true. What that means is right now, the truth is coming to the surface. And when you reveal the truth, sometimes there's going to be energies that want to combat that. They don't want always the truth to come out. But regardless, the truth will still be revealed. That is what full disclosure is all about right now. It is happening. We are witnessing it. You can see it happening on the global stage, in the government systems, all around the world. But the other thing that I think is so important to talk about right now in regard to full disclosure is it's also happening in your own everyday life. Now, you can't look at your world right now and not see the truth around you. So you may be looking at aspects of friends and relationships differently. You might even be looking at the way you are in the world a little bit differently. I'm even seeing a lot of full truths coming to my reality right now. There's a lot of things that maybe I turned away from and I couldn't quite see that right now. I'm going, oh my God, that is very true. That's very real. We've even announced on a government level that extraterrestrials are real. And you notice that most of humanity is not even freaking out about that. Well, let's just know that extraterrestrials, I think on a cellular level, we've all known exist. Hence why we don't find that truth to be too scary. But here's a good example of some of the major truths that are being revealed right now. What does that mean for where we're going? So, next year also is going to continue to be part of this full disclosure. So, 26, 27, 2027 here, we're going to continue to see a lot of these shifts and crumbling of establishment stuff that needs to just fall away. On the other side of that, we're going to start to see things slowly being rebuilt 20 in year 2028, 2029 to 2030. We're going to still continue it to go on after that. It's going to take a while to spring back from the revelation of truth. Because now that the truth is being revealed, we now then need to react and shift our lives according to that truth. So that will take time. It's going to unfold here in the next 2 years, well, really a year and a half from this moment. And then in the next 3 years, we'll be continuing to see us rebuild from all of that. And we have to rebuild. There's nothing that's going to go back to the way it was. It's all changing. I think we saw that with 2020 and the entrance of COVID. COVID just changed our way of life dramatically. We're still adjusting to it. But now that we are open to seeing the truth, we are going to witness it and it's going to change everything. So buckle your seatbelts, my friends. Stay grounded. Go back to the beginning of the video and stay grounded in the best ways that you can. We're all going to get through it. I think just knowing that the rebuild will take a bit of time, but it's so necessary because I think the aspect of what we're going to build with humanity will be greater and better than what we exist in right now. So with that being said, I want to end our video with one other question here. And again, if you have any questions that you want me to address on any level, from traveling abroad to sacred sites, Egypt to Peru, England, India, Mexico are some of the ones that I've been to, as well as any aspects of psychic intuitive life, spirit guides, spirit people, you name it, ask the question, and I'm going to do my best to answer them in some upcoming videos. Put them in the comments. But here's another question I just want to answer for today. What is life like for spirit on the other side? Another bit of a doozy, but I'm going to do my best to try to give this form because I believe that the spirit world is formless to our human form. When we pass to the spirit, we are no longer a body. And I do believe as I work with spirit that they do come to us and and present as best as they can in a human form so that we can identify them. Part of my job as a medium is to bring some evidence of the spirit to help you understand who's coming through. So if I'm going to describe someone in spirit, if I were to tell you how I really sense their energetic body, it wouldn't translate to you as someone you know. So they do impress upon me aspects of their living nature so that you can recognize your family members in the spirit. But when we pass to the spirit world, we are filled with so much light and love. And I'm going to share a brief story that my grandmother shared with me before she transitioned some years ago. And she had a near death experience about a year before she passed. And I love my grandmother, but at the time she wasn't really fully supportive and understanding as my abilities as a medium. She was raised religious, so it did counteract what she had believed, but she still loved me, I know, to the core of her being. But in her near death experience, she did come back and sit down and tell me this incredible story. And I must preface this that I literally saw her the very next day in the hospital as she came back. And this woman was all aglow. She didn't look like she had passed at all and come back. She looked quite lively. She had a vibrancy in her energy. And she was so excited to talk to me and tell me that she had come to the meadow of light, as she called it, where she met my grandfather, who was already there. And she felt it to be such a place of love. And she knew that all of her family was also around, that she could feel their presence and their love all around her. And she did feel so at peace. And she didn't want to come back. She wanted to spend time with my grandfather, but he did send her back for a little while and said, "You have to come back." And he wanted to make sure that she spoke to me of this and let her know that she must amend that with me before she passed. So I thought that was brilliant and lovely. She was so excited to tell me. But the other important thing I found out about this is she did say to me, "We will all see each other again one day. I am 100% sure of that." She understood the work that I did as a medium. And she said, "We will all come together and heal what did not heal down here." I thought that was powerful because some of you may be nervous to encounter people in the spirit world that maybe were difficult in this life. And the one thing she did assure me is that you will only encounter them when your soul is ready. So you will graduate through healing and reconnecting with your loved ones in spirit as your soul is ready to meet those people. So I thought that was really important to share here, that life in spirit is beautiful. It is filled with light. It is filled with love. There is no ego. There's no fear, and that we will reunite with those that we love again someday. Take this from the wisdom of my Graham Gert. She was very difficult, loving woman in some ways. I can say that because she didn't always believe in this stuff. So to have her come back and share this with me was one of the most powerful gifts I'd ever received as a medium. So when I heard this question, I had to share this with you, this beautiful story of my grandmother, because it really brought validation to the work that I do, but also that the other side is waiting for us. It is safe, it is loving, and they are looking over us as best as they can. So thank you for joining me for this wonderful time of questions. And please, again, add any questions you want to the comments. I'd love to see what you'd like to ask me. And don't be afraid to visit at laurenrainbow.com, my website. You can see other things that I've got coming up. You can check out my retreats. We've got trips to Egypt, Mexico, and India. Sign up for my newsletter. You'll receive updates about journeys, teachings, and all the other wonderful things that we've got going on here at laurenrainbow.com. In the meantime, thank you for joining me for this conversation, and I hope that you have a gorgeous day. Take care of yourself.